Hey everybody, in the words of DJ Khaled, welcome back to another one. Let's talk about emotions. Now, if you're sitting there going, Daniel, I don't actually know what emotions are, don't worry, I'm a guy, I don't know what they are either. Let's try to figure it out together. So when we think about emotions right now, in the kind of mainstream, the way that we look at mental health, the way that we look at well-being, I'm sure you've noticed that there's two ways that people tell you to respond to your emotions, right? Way number one is people say, look, if you feel tired, it doesn't matter. Forget this feeling tired. Who cares? So what if you feel tired? You've got a job to do. You won't always feel like going to work. You won't always feel like being there for your spouse, but it's your duty, it's your obligation to. And if you rely on your feelings, you might never feel like going to the gym again. You might never feel like seeing your friends again. So you should do it regardless of how you feel. The other end of the spectrum, when we talk about emotions and feelings, says, look, if you feel tired, maybe that's your body trying to tell you something. Maybe you're not lazy. Maybe you just don't love your job because it's not as intellectually challenging. Maybe you don't love your job because it's not actually related to what you studied back at university. So maybe our feelings can tell us something about our mood and we should do something about it. So rather than suppressing it and saying, it doesn't matter how I feel, maybe if I feel a little extra anxious or a little extra annoyed or frustrated, I can reflect, why is that? Is there something going on in my life right now? Is it a hectic time? Am I moving? Are things changing relationship-wise? So why? What does this mean? Let me ask you a good question. I meant to say good people, but it's a good question for good people. So we're right on that end. Is it okay to experience emotions? Like, is it normal? Is that a healthy thing to have? Now, many people are going, of course, Daniel, of course it's okay to experience emotions. Okay, let's play. Name some emotions for me. Is it okay to feel happy? How about sad? Yeah, it's okay to feel sad sometimes? Okay. Is it okay to feel excited? Is it okay to feel frustrated? Is it okay to feel anxious? Is that a socially appropriate emotion to feel? Here's another one. Ready for you? Is it okay to feel angry? I got you now, didn't I? Because there's a lot of people listening to this who said it's absolutely okay to feel happy. And then I lost some of you who are saying, well, Daniel, it's not okay to be sad all the time. No, man, like that's wrong. Like you're going to waste people's energy. Nobody wants to be around you. You should be happy most days. And there's other people who thought, you know what? No, it's okay to be sad from time to time. And then when I said anger, a portion of that got even smaller because a bunch of you said, no, it's not okay to be angry. It's never okay to yell, Dan. It's never okay to shout at somebody or to get angry and to get flustered and to just throw things and speak in a rude tone to someone. That's not okay. And if you're I can't say minority because I'm not talking about statistics, but my hypothesis is if you are one of the people who said it's completely okay to feel all of those emotions from happiness to sadness to anger, I don't think there's many people that would agree with you. Many people would say there's no need to get angry. Like, why get angry? Why? There's just no need for that. Why would I choose to get angry, right? When I found out that my girlfriend slept with my best friend, why choose to get angry? When I found out that I'm getting fired from my work 3 weeks before Christmas, why choose to get angry? So no, there's nothing good about being angry. And people shouldn't be angry. Do you see the problem here, folks? How we tell people in one sense to accept their emotions, to be more understanding. And then we go back when it gets to anger, all of a sudden, it's 1975 all over again. Just swallow it. There's no such thing as being angry. It's not okay. It's not a socially acceptable emotion because nothing good comes out of anger, Daniel. Therefore, you should not be angry. And look, maybe this is you. Maybe these are some of your talking points, and I say this not to critique, not to be saying... I know I changed my tone for a comedic matter, but I don't say that to make fun of or to talk down to. But I want to create a conversation in your head and hopefully around your friends and around your family is what emotions are acceptable to display. So maybe in your family, it's totally acceptable to show excitement and to show happiness, but sadness is not acceptable. What do I mean by that? I mean, when you get sad, people are immediately like, let me cheer you up. Let me start making you feel better. Don't be sad. What possible reason could you have to be sad? Why would a girl as good looking as you possibly be upset? And what we do is we try to get someone out of that feeling. Indirectly, we're saying there's something wrong with being sad, right? I'm listening to the radio, and forgive me if you've heard this one already. And some woman calls into like a radio show, contest or whatever, and the radio host is like, congratulations, Sally, you're caller number 9. How do you feel? And Sally goes, oh, good, but I feel a little nervous. And guess what the radio show host says? Don't be nervous. And I remember thinking, why not? If I call into a radio show and I'm live and hundreds if not thousands of people are listening, and I tell you I feel nervous, you say, don't be nervous. And this is a question to you folks. I'm not trying to be a smartass about this. Why should I not be nervous? Or think about you're about to give a presentation. Think about you're about to ask out your crush. You're about to do something nerve-wracking. Why should I not feel nervous? Because one person might say, you have nothing to feel nervous about. Really? Really? I have nothing to feel nervous about. What if I say something stupid on air? What if I reveal some information that is private and I don't know that a family member or a friend is listening? What if I give a presentation and I mess up and I feel embarrassed afterwards? What if I ask out the girl that I have a crush on and I get rejected in front of everybody? Really, I have nothing to feel nervous about. So, personally, I want you to think about that. My own bias, I'm not saying this is correct, I'm just saying this is my own perspective. I don't believe in that. There's plenty of reasons to be nervous. So the question is, why shouldn't I be? If I'm applying for a job and it's very competitive, and people say, don't be nervous. Well, why not? Well, Daniel, because nothing good comes out of being nervous, okay? It's not going to make you smarter. It's not going to make you faster. It's not going to make you better. It's not a positive emotion. Hold that thought. First of all, when we look at, I can't quote nervousness, but what we can do is I can get you to Google the concept of flow. And I know I've talked about this before. And it's looking at stress and it's looking at challenge. And when someone's perfectly challenged, and even for students when they're taking tests, we perform the best when we have a little bit of stress. If there is zero stress, the grades aren't that great. If there's too much stress, we're overwhelmed, the grades aren't that great. But if there's a little bit of stress, it gets us to care, right? And we see this both in the schools and we see this also at job performances. If you're interested in this, literally Google something like how much stress is optimal. I forgot the gentleman's name who did this, but I want to say he's from Swiss, and it's a really, really long last name. It starts with M, the concept of flow or the originator of flow. So check that out. So that immediately debunks this idea of, well, look, if you're nervous, you can't get anything done, or it's a negative emotion. Okay, let's play with this idea for a second. What does that mean? What do you mean negative emotion? Oh, it's a bad emotion. Okay. So what you're saying is there's certain emotions that are positive, there are certain emotions that are negative. Well, educate me, my friend. In the words of my professor, let me be a dumb detective. What does that mean? What does that mean? What do you mean negative emotion? And you go, well, Daniel, being sad, being angry, being anxious are negative emotions. And being happy and excited and enthusiastic are positive ones. What do you mean by that? Do you mean they make you feel good and some make you feel bad? Well, look, if you ask a regular person, hey, would you rather feel happy for 5 minutes or angry for 5 minutes? They would say happy. Like this, I don't mean to throw a trick question at you. I believe many people would answer that. I sure as heck would answer like that. The problem becomes if we start labeling these emotions as negative, and it's not that I'm combating these, and I'm not saying they're good, but when we start assigning value, this is a good emotion, this is a bad emotion, I want to be cautious that we don't put the bad ones in a bucket and say, I shouldn't feel these, ever. This is a bad emotion. Because whether it makes me feel good or whether it makes me feel bad, an emotion is an emotion. And there's an appropriate time, I would argue, for all of them. If something terrible happened to you, if a business partner went behind your back and did something, if a spouse, if a romantic partner was unfaithful, and you weren't a little bit angry, that would be strange to me. Isn't that a bit strange, folks? Is it just me? If I go to a funeral and everybody's smiling and happy, that's a little bit strange for me. Especially if we knew the person and we loved them and we're upset that they're gone. I don't know about you. I would never go to a funeral, look around and go, people, what's up with all the down faces? What's up with all the long faces? What's going on? Well, at least he died at 50. There's many people who died at the age of 40. You know, and your friend Billy's there like, I know, but he was my dad. And, well, at least you had a dad. Ricky there over there didn't even have a mom or a dad. Do you see what I mean, folks? If you don't go to a funeral and tell people you shouldn't be sad, or let me try to make you feel better immediately, what it's telling me, or what we're telling people as a society is, this feeling that you're experiencing hurts, so let me fix that problem immediately, right? The problem is you feel sad, I want to fix it, so let's do something fun. Let's go out swimming. Let's go dancing. Let's go do karaoke. And I love that people's hearts are in the right place, and they want you to feel good, and they want to try to solve your problem. My question is a negative, as we put it societally, is a negative emotion a problem that needs to be fixed? And you can think about that while I have a piece of chocolate. Here's my take on it. And I'm not saying this is right, but here's one perspective. When looking at emotions, there's always two other culprits. Our thoughts, right? Cognition, our beliefs, and also our behaviors. So if you tell me you feel really sad, chances are, well, if you feel really bummed out or depressed or frustrated, I'd be curious to be like, so what did you eat today? Because we know that when we're not feeling well, when we're angry, when we're frustrated, when we're sad, it messes around with our appetite. Like, we can have a possibility to binge eat. There could be a chance that we start skipping meals. Especially if we're stressed, we're going to start craving foods high in carbs and high in fats. So if you're feeling sad, chances are you're not eating the best. Chances are you're not exercising. So we can understand where this idea comes from, where people go, oh, you're upset? Well, look, don't be. At least you've got all this to be grateful for. Come on, let's go hit the gym. The only thing that I have a problem with is people saying don't be. When you call into the radio show and the person says, you know, I feel good, but I'm nervous, why can't we reply and say, hey, it's normal to feel nervous. Thank you for being honest. Thank you for being brave and coming on. It's okay to be nervous. The same way you go to a funeral. And you ask people, hey, how are you holding up? And they go, not well. And they go, I'm sorry you feel this way. Well, we wouldn't immediately go, well, you shouldn't feel upset. Or here, you should feel happy. Life still has to go. Folks, it's not black and white. But we got to be careful of when our message is, it's okay to be emotional, it's okay to have emotions, it's okay to accept them. Well, how can we ever accept them if we vilify them, right? When I read a headline about the Romanian kickboxer and how much of those angry young men he's inspired, I can't help but read that in a negative note. Like, wait a minute. Forget the Romanian kickboxer. I'm talking about this idea of angry young men. I don't hear a lot of compassion, right? If I said anxious young men, I could imagine people being like, here are resources for men with anxiety. Here are things you could do. Here's what we recommend. But angry young men, that's not acceptable. No, anger is not okay. Yelling is not okay. Okay, well, let me ask you this. Is crying okay? And if you're listening to this and you're going, well, look, of course it's okay for a man to cry, but it's not okay for a man to yell. My friends, you see the complexity of this issue. And what we tend to do is we go to the extremes. Right? So when we want to make our point sound better, one thing known in philosophy as argumental fallacies are that one side will say, oh, so you think people should cry all the time? Or you think people should be angry and beat up their spouses, huh? Is that what you think? That's the kind of emotions you want? You want your leader to be emotional and crying all day? Right? And then this side will reply back by saying, oh, you just want everybody to be robots, huh? I bet you don't even want people to hug anymore. Matter of fact, a handshake is too emotional. Let's just be distant. Let's never talk about our emotions again. Let's just forget the words, how are you? Because we're all lying to each other anyways. Because who's really fine? So we're all just going to say, ready to do work? Yup, absolutely. That's all that matters. How do you feel? I don't even care. Let's go to work. It is never my spot to tell you what to do or to tell you how to feel. And yet I want to shed light on the complexity and the polarization of this idea of emotions. If you get really, really angry at work and you do something or you behave inappropriately with a customer, is that okay? And if the answer is no, we got to take a step back and go, look, our problem is not with an emotion. Our problem is with a behavior that manifests itself as a result of that emotion. So you can feel angry. Not even you can't. You're supposed to. Are you not a human being? Do you not suffer and have pain and fall into confrontations and disagreements like the rest of us? In that case, feeling our emotions is inevitable. The question becomes, how much can we impact our behaviors after the fact? I'm not upset at the fact that you're angry. What I'm upset at the fact is that you were so angry that you got caught in road rage. You pulled down your window, you said some not so nice things, you threw some fingers up, you got out of the car, and you almost started a fist fight on concrete, which is dangerous. Like, that's what makes me upset. But to look at that person and say, you shouldn't get angry, is kind of like saying you shouldn't be a human. I'm about to give a presentation in front of 500 people. Don't be nervous. So, don't be a human? Be a rock? Don't have a nervous system? Our brains are far too developed, right? We can perceive things. We're thinking about people's expectations. We have a societal reputation. As always, we recognize when we delve deep into an idea, it's not as simple as it appears to be. So, there's two things I want to leave you off with. One, we have to be patient because there's many different schools of thought. Some people would hardcore agree with something I've said. Some people would hardcore agree with other things I've said. And there might be different perspectives that I haven't even covered in this one. It's important to be patient. At this point in time, I don't know if there's one answer that's best above all. I know there's different perspectives and there's different opinions. And the best thing that we can do is to listen to other people around us and take it all in. Entertain different ideas. And then, my friend, it is up to you to make the decision of which one most resonates with you and which one makes most sense to you. Otherwise, me sitting here and saying, you should be more emotional, or you should be less emotional, or this and that, it really doesn't matter what I think. Forget really. It doesn't matter what I think. Point blank. What matters is what you think. And as long as you can justify your own reasoning for when you conceptualize what an emotion is and how to deal with an emotion, or if a friend's being really emotional, how to respond, and that's causing you the least amount of distress, and it's working for you, Who am I to tell you to do otherwise? And on that wonderful note of tailoring things to yourself and of always looking out for your health, have a week. I was going to say have a good week, but what if you don't have a good week? Is it okay to have bad weeks? Sure it is. And also, if I say have a good week, what if I'm setting you up with high expectations that you're going to have a good week? Don't get me wrong, I hope that it's good. But if it's bad, hey man, that's life. And that's okay too. Not every week has to be good. Now you see why this video is so complex. Alright, thank you everybody. Take care and stay safe. Bye-bye.